to her and we'll start Cassidy's interview. It's your turn. And
Okay.
I think we have to start with the first career home run
Oh yeah.
on Saturday. First ever home run. I heard you say it as you crossed home plate. That was your first one ever. What did that feel like? Go through the emotions and the at bat that got your first ever home run.
Well, when I first hit it, I did not know it was over because I've never hit one, so I didn't know what it felt like. And I was like, oh, just another double, maybe triple if I really run fast. And then I saw my team coming out of the dugout, and I was like, was that over? And then I see Fred, like, cheering me on third baseline. I was like, oh, my God, like, it actually hit me that it was over.
Talk to me about what these relationships on this team has meant to you, too, and just the experience that you've had with this team and the relationships that you've built.
Yeah, this year has definitely been, like, the best year as a team. We've really come close together since we played together for so long. And I think that is one thing that's been helping us through this year, cheering each other on way more than we ever have. When, like, say I come out of strikeout, somebody's in the dugout telling me to keep my head up and I'll get it next time. There's always somebody there to, like, cheer me on if I'm down. And same for me when somebody else is down.
Thinking about little Cassie as a freshman, what do you think is the biggest thing that has changed since you were a freshman to where you are now?
Definitely my motivation. I've definitely I strive to win even more now. Like, even though I did then, I was on JV then. Now I'm on varsity, and I just see the change and how much harder I work for what I want. Like, starting at first now and being in the lineup, like, it's a big change coming from JV to here. Like, you want it even more.
Talking about that, what was the experience like on the field going from that JV to that varsity field? And what do you think it was that you needed to do to be able to make that transition to the varsity level?
It's definitely a bigger change. Obviously, the balls are going to come at you harder, faster. And, like, that was the pitching's a way different level. So that was something I had to adjust to. But being on the varsity field is, like, it's an amazing feeling to have, knowing you're representing your school and your team out there in their starting lineup. And it's something I'm grateful for every day.
I know the varsity game can go fast, but how many times you just kind of, because you talked about you get to go out there, represent your team, represent your school. How many times you just kind of take a breath on the softball field and realize that you're out there with a Boardman uniform on and you're on the varsity team and you're representing your school?
I definitely need to do it a lot more than I do, so I'm not in my head so much. But it is something that it's crazy to think about, that this is our last year together and how we're putting it all out on the field, doing our best that we can every game to represent our school and try to win as much as we can.
You're obviously having a pretty successful year at the plate. Talk to me about what you do to kind of keep yourself composed in those situations when you're facing the tough pitchers that not only this conference has to offer, but just your schedule has had to offer.
One thing I noticed myself doing this year is not thinking so much about what I expect the pitcher to throw. I'm not in there thinking, oh, it's a curveball coming outside. I'm more of just swing the bat. I've been hitting the first pitch a lot more this season than I ever have, because if it's there, I'm going to take it. And I just stopped thinking so much when I'm in there.
Fred Moots is always talking about softball IQ and raising the knowledge of the game. How much do you think your softball IQ has gone up since you started playing on the varsity level?
Definitely a lot more. There's more, the ball is put in play more, so you need to know the scenarios of runners on first and third, what you're going to do with the ball, thinking of how they're way more aggressive on the bases. Like, if Maddie Weimer throws down to me at first, I have to be ready for that runner to go to two and not just dive back. Like, there's way more aggression in the players at the varsity level.
What does it mean to you to have such a large senior class to kind of go out with this team that you got to experience with for so many years?
I wouldn't ask for a different group of girls to go down with, because we all have been playing, like Dana said, since we were 10U, and and how we all have a great bond together since we've been playing together for that long. And it's something that shows on the field. Our communication is always up in the field. In the dugout, we are always cheering each other on. It is something you will notice, that we have a great bond together.
What does Cassidy Bryan's playlist look like, especially playlist before a game?
Megan. Yeah, I like Megan Thee Stallion and T Grizzly. I like a lot of rap music.
What's one song that if you could have a walk-up song you would have? Like, what's your go-to walk-up
My walk-up song for senior night, we're doing them for once, is tomorrow, and it's Family Ties. It's a good one.
Awesome.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it too.
Yep.
Let's talk about these memories too, because obviously with senior night, it always brings up a lot of time for reflection. Heck, senior year is always a time for reflection the entire year. But let's talk about it. I asked that question to Dana. I want to ask the same question to you. Is there a game or a moment in a game or a time throughout this softball career that sticks out to you? If there's more than one too, you could shout that out, but is there a moment that kind of sticks out to you?
Yeah, this year especially was beating Canfield, because I think going into that, them beating us last year, they kind of looked down on us and like expected to do the same thing. So when we came out and beat them, that really gave us like an edge to do, like try even harder and go after them even harder the next time we play them. And I know, like you said, being Fitch the second game was really hype last year, because they definitely weren't expecting us to come out that hot too.
And the home run.
Yeah.
You look at it and you look at what this team means to you and the legacy that you would like to leave. If I asked maybe a sophomore next year, what did Cassidy Bryan leave on you before she left? What do you hope that the answer would be if I asked that question? Hopefully
like an upbeat energy. I feel like I'm always the one cracking jokes or like doing something stupid. Me and Dana, so hopefully it's something like that. And being a good leader this year, that was one big thing I wanted to step into, was being a good leader for the underclassmen, since there are so many of us leaving and they're going to be left with a lot lower amount of upperclassmen.
What's your advice to some of these underclassmen and some of these girls that are going to be coming up into the program for adjusting into the varsity level?
I think it's going to take a bit of adjustment, just because there was so many seniors this year. So obviously a bunch of them are coming from JV next year. Is to, like, if you do something, you need to just shake it off right away and not carry it in, because like Fred always says, the ball will find you and you don't want to like stack up the errors. So you need to just shake everything off and move on to the next play or the next at bat and do better the next time.
We know team chemistry is so important, and obviously you guys are a tight-knit group. We've been talking about that all day. What are some of your favorite team bonding experiences that you've had with this team off the field?
Florida was definitely a really good one. There was a lot of funny memories there. There was one thing from Florida, was the kettle corn. Dave Matz had a bag of kettle corn, and half of our team ate it and acted like they didn't, and Dave Matz had no idea that they ate it.
He's kind of mad.
That was one just really funny thing. And even off the field, we like do stuff together. Like yesterday, our practice ended and we went and watched JV team. We always do stuff together like that, and just together.
Talking about Boardman too, the one thing I was always jealous of was just how many food options there are down at Boardman. So what's the go-to spot for after a big win for you?
Chick-fil-A for sure. That's Tori Strine's go-to meal before every game too.
We heard about that yesterday, and I told her that it's a good thing you guys never play on Sundays.
Right.
What's since you're Chick-fil-A and we asked Tori this, what's your order at Chick-fil-A?
I do the number one meal, just chicken sandwich, but I put mayonnaise and ketchup on the sandwich, which is really weird, but it's so good.
That is weird, but hey, we all have we all have our quirks. And I asked Tori this too, so I guess we'll go milkshakes at Chick-fil-A. I'm a fan. She ranked them at like 9. Where do you rank the Chick-fil-A milkshakes? And
I'd say they're solid 9 too. I don't get them when I go, but like if I'm in the mood, I'll get one. But they're pretty good if you do get one.
What's the best milkshake?
Oreo.
Who has the best milkshake? Oreo's good too, though.
I like Coach's milkshakes.
Oh, there you go.
That's a different spot. I don't know if I've ever actually had a shake at Coach's. That's might be a spot
milkshakes.
And they are so good. They like deck it out with like all these toppings and stuff. It's really good.
For a minute, I forgot it was a place, and I was thinking that Fred Moots makes you guys milkshakes.
Fred, you should.
Yeah, good idea.
Let's talk about where this kind of love for softball started. We've been talking a lot about this journey, but when was the moment you really found yourself falling in love with this sport and realizing this is something you want to continue to participate in and continue to strive to get better in?
I feel like it was when I was younger, when my game would end and I'd be sad that it was over, my season ended, and that's all I looked forward to. If I was sad it was over, that's when I really realized I loved it. And even like this season, especially seeing that it's over because I'm not playing in college, that it's really going to hit me when it's over.
All right, so you won't be playing in college, but what is some of your future goals that you do want to see yourself doing in college and doing in the next couple of years?
So I'm going to YSU's Honors College for civil engineering. And me being close to home, like Dana said, I want to come back and help Boardman softball. My younger sister is coming up too. She'll be a freshman next year. So even if it's helping with her or helping with the team, even with Dave Matz's like rec team or something that I can do to help the Boardman softball community.
All right, then I have to put your coaching hat on a little bit. Like, how good of a coach do you think you could be? Do you think you have the coaching genes and you have the coaching mentality?
Oh, I'd hope I do. I feel like the leadership roles I've held in the school also will help me through that. Like just being in charge of a group almost, like, and helping others, but also keeping a positive attitude and encouraging them. That's one thing I would like to do.
What will be one thing that a coach has told you throughout your career that you will continue to tell people if you become a coach down the line?
Fred Mootz's quote, if you're down, don't get down.
That's going to live on forever. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We love having you on. We look forward to continuing the coverage of you guys throughout the rest of the season. Number 8, number 9 next to each other. It almost makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Cassidy Bryan and Dana Haas, both seniors of the Boardman softball team.